Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem, a postmortem of my Blitz game number 486. I had the white pieces here, and I started off with e4. My opponent played e5, and now I have the chance to play the Scotch game. So I try that, knight c6, he plays, and I go with d4. So he takes the main move, and now I decide instead of taking back, which is the main line of the Scotch, to play bishop to c4, the Scotch gambit. And this is a pretty interesting gambit. It's one of those gambits where if you give the chess engine evaluation time to settle down, it actually likes this position for white. Yeah, there it is. It flipped to a positive score. Unlike many gambits where black still has, say, if white is offering the gambit, usually the computer will give white some compensation, but not a full point. But it appears here you have more than enough compensation. So interesting way to play. Queen to f6 he played here, a rare move. What I looked at in the opening basics videos were the main moves knight f6 and bishop to c5. And those are probably what you will see most of the time. So queen f6, an offbeat move. And the best way to play is probably to continue with castling or continue in gambit style with c3. As long as this pawn is sitting here on d4 kind of isolated, you have ideas of winning the pawn back and not even being down material. With c3, you're really giving up material and you're going into a full-on gambit. No hope of winning that pawn back. But you get your knight developed to c3. And you see the evaluation is quite strongly in favor of white. So I guess you also gain some tempos on the queen. And so more than enough compensation for the pawn. So that's the best way to play here, castle or c3. Anyway, I was tempted by this move, bishop g5, kicking the queen around. And the problem is the queen has a perfectly good square on g6, and black is pretty much equalized here. So let's continue on a few moves. I keep developing. He attacks my bishop, and now here's one interesting point. I was a little bit worried about the g2 pawn here, so I didn't want to play a move like bishop to f4, for example, bishop to h4. But if you look at this, it's actually not safe for the queen to take this pawn. Queen takes g2. I have the move rook to g8, attacking the queen. The rook, notice, is defended by the knight. Knight's also defending this pawn, and the knight itself is defended by the queen and the knight. So everything is pretty secure over here. After rook g8, the queen has to get out of the way. Now I can take on g7 and get back one of my pawns and mess up my opponent's king side. And it looks like I really have a huge lead in development at that point and a winning game. So that's the way to play that. Well, best for black is not to even take on g2, but to play something else like d6. Okay. So that could have been played. I decided to trade bishops off, not spotting that idea. He takes back. And now I castle. That was my idea, was to do that trade with tempo and then defend the g-pawn. He castles here. Go rook e1. You can see that my inaccurate play, though, has resulted in a slight edge for black. So he's developing pretty comfortably here. He has a good bishop, potentially light squared bishop with his pawns in the center on dark squares. Knight to b3, I decide since I've kind of lost the initiative from the gambit, I should try and round up this pawn. And he finds a clever way to defend it, which doesn't quite work, but it could have worked. First he plays knight e5, kicking my bishop. I drop back. And then he plays c5, and that allows me to get the pawn back. But if he wanted to, he could throw in another move. He could play knight takes f3 check. It's a move with tempo I have to take back, and then play c5 and hold on to the pawn for a while. Although I would have compensation. But this move... I'm sorry, cancel that. After after I played bishop e2, he played c5 immediately, and this allows me to get the pawn back. So I go ahead and get it back with knight takes, pawn takes, and then grab on c5. So in this position, black still has a slight edge because of his better bishop, I think. The development is about even. This bishop is going to develop pretty quickly, probably not to that square, but it's got a good diagonal it can come out on. Maybe he has to chase my knight away first and then develop the bishop to b7 there. That's another idea. But it seems like black is not going to have any trouble completing his development, and he'll have the better pieces, so slight edge to black here. Instead, he rushes into a kingside attack with f5, and this is not quite working. I don't always defend the most accurate way, but I do manage to defend. Bishop to c4 check is a good way to start, but I started with f3 here, and now black still keeps some slight edge there. He played the move f4, pushing on and opening up this this diagonal for his bishop. So I spot that idea. I play bishop c4 check to clear the second rank, and then knight to d3 to bring my knight over for the defense. He plays on with his attack, bishop to h3, and I play rook to e2, defending. So all this is pretty okay for white. His black's attack is sort of running out of steam at this point. He tries queen g5 to create a square for his knight to come over. Play king to h1 to drive the bishop back. The bishop goes to d7. And I play queen d2 so my rook can come over to the g file. Plays knight to g6, and so I throw in rook g1. And I am I'm managing to hold on here. I guess he never really had a winning edge during the attack. And then this move h5 is maybe a little bit too much. I play the move g3, threatening to open up the g file. Now, of course, you always want to be careful moving pawns around your king, especially when you're under attack, because it can weaken things. But I've got my pieces well organized for defense and also for counterattack on the g file, so it's justified to open up the g file in this case and move that pawn. He drops his queen back to f6. Let's see, queen e7 maybe is a little more accurate. And I could take the f-pawn here, and probably should. This move, rook eg2, is actually a mistake because he can just chase the rook away with bishop to h3, so it's kind of a waste of a tempo. And it's safe for me to go ahead and open up the position now with g takes f4. After knight takes, I could trade off the knight. Oh, the engine just wants to trade everything. If he takes with the pawn, then I can put the rook on the g file, and now I'm free to operate, so bishop h3 doesn't force the rook back. So that would be the way to play it a little more accurately. So rook e to g2, he helps me out here by not playing bishop h3, but by actually opening up the f file voluntarily. So now the advantage starts to shift in my favor. He continues with knight h4, and I have this really nice tactic with knight takes e5, which I didn't think of at all, but it's interesting. I can take here with the threat of rook to g5 there, forking the queen and this pawn here, which threatens checkmate. Notice the bishop is covering the g8 escape square of the king. So this is pretty interesting. If I take, let's just first show this idea. If the queen takes, then rook here is winning almost immediately. Oh, he can play knight takes f3, but if he plays queen back here, rook there check is a mate in two. So pretty scary. Here he has another defense. He can counterattack with knight takes f3. But notice that after I take his queen, he can't take my queen because I still have this mate threat. He's got to take the rook, and at this point I'm just up material. I have a queen. Let's see, I'll grab another pawn here. Say I have a queen for the two rooks and a rook for the knight. So yeah, and I have an extra pawn. So I'm up a little bit of material, but I guess the advantage more comes from the fact that my pieces are all well placed and targeting his king, and his rook isn't playing yet. So a winning position for white. Okay, let's go on with the game. I played knight e1 here, just defending, keeping some small edge. And then he plays g6 in this position, and g6 loses immediately. So why don't you see if you can spot the tactic after g6. Okay, I'm going to give the answer away. Here's one of those mate in ones I mentioned. Queen to h6 is just mate in one. The bishop is guarding the escape square, as I mentioned before, and the queen is perfectly capable of covering all of these exit squares. So it's another reminder about not being taken care when you move pawns in front of your king. You're just opening up paths potentially for your enemy's pieces. Okay, he played g6, And I played queen g5, which actually gives the advantage up. He could trade queens here and hold on, maybe even have a slight edge again. He goes bishop to e6. Maybe he had started to spot this idea, but it doesn't work. His queen is kind of overloaded. His queen was defending the bishop and also defending the knight. He tries to escape by playing knight takes f3. This once again allows queen to h6 mate, so that was not a great try, but once again I'm ignoring the mating ideas and taking material. And now if he takes the bishop here, you have the check, and I'm probably mating, but I'm also winning material on f8 as well. So he trades queens at this point, take back with the rook, and he trades rooks, and now I'm just 2 pieces up. So pretty easy win from here. He plays on a few more moves, attacking my knight, attacking my bishop, and saving his pawn. Now at this point I grab another pawn, and he decides to resign. I think even I could win this game, even overlooking those mate and ones. I can just win through predominance of material. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.